Chapter 3's second objective is to define and apply some accounting concepts and principles. It's the accounting period concept, the revenue, and matching principles. The accounting period concept is that businesses prepare financial statements for specific periods to evaluate their performance. It could be anywhere from monthly to quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. Okay, but in general, the basic accounting period is 365 days. So it could be a calendar year, January to December, or it could be a fiscal year, like July 1st through June 30th of the next year. Interim periods are used by some companies to prepare financial information. For example, the publicly traded companies on Wall Street are required to prepare financial statements quarterly and annually by the Securities and Exchange Commission. The revenue principle. It tells us when we record revenue. As we talked about in objective number 1, we record it when it is earned, when the service is provided or the product has been delivered. Think about the law firm. They provided the legal services for a client, so they subsequently performed. Okay, but you remember from the example is that was not necessarily when they received cash. Okay, so under the revenue principle, we record revenue when it is earned, which is when the service or goods are provided, and this is not necessarily when cash is received. Next, what amount of revenue should be recorded? The amount of revenue that's recorded is the value of the item or the service that's been transferred to the customer. Okay, so if you and I negotiate in good faith that I provide accounting services to you that are valued at $5,000, you should record an accounting expense of $5,000. I will record a accounting service revenue of $5,000. The amount of the revenue is something that should be relatively easy to measure between two people. Okay, so it's not like well, I quoted you $10,000, but it's really only worth $7,000. If I bill you for $5,000, you record it as $5,000. I record it as $5,000. That's what the revenue principle says. Next, the matching principle. The matching principle requires that we measure all expenses incurred during the accounting period. What we're trying to do is to match the expenses against the revenues earned for the same period. If you go back to my earlier example about the cable bill, we received the bill in June, but it's not due for July. Really, the period of time that it represents is the month of June. Okay, so we want to measure revenue, and we also want to measure the expenses that we incurred to earn that revenue. So that's the matching principle. The time period concept requires us to record accounting information and be reported at regular intervals, i.e., like 1 year periods. Okay? And also that all the accounts are updated at the end of each accounting period. So that's why we have the need to adjust the accounts on a continuing basis, because of the time period concept. Right? We report accounting information at regular intervals, and we also update the accounts at the end of each period.